Welcome. Thank you for watching this video on transfers. I'm going to go through this and I'm going to show you how your team sheet is set up when you're trying to look at transfers. I'm going to show you a document that shows you your transfers in and out that are allowed. I'm going to go through OCM versus non-OCM transfers, loans, and any kind of special topics. We're going to jump right into this. So once you get into, and I'm going to be using data from season one, but the layout's pretty much the same. So for whether you're in season two, whether you're looking at La Liga, whether you're looking at a different league that we brought, I'm making this so that it can last a while. First thing we're going to look at is your team sheet. And so what you'll see here is on your team sheet, you'll have, we'll go over here real quick. 1 second. So you'll see on your team sheet, you'll have a place for your players, the top 25 players in your squad. You'll see their value, what they are valued on. So FIFA, plus this is to the nearest 250K. So if you're looking at Fernando, if on SoFIFA, his value was like 3.1 million, you'd round that up to 3.25 million. So that we do everything in Great Britain pounds. And then you have his wage, and then you have their contract. You'll also see down here, you have your transfer budget, your wage budget, and then your total wages. This is just showing how many wages you have out there of your current squad that are on your reserves and are on your top 25. And then your wage budget, what you have left to work with when you're bringing in people, just like your transfer budget. So in this case, we're looking at, when we look at these contract years, it's 15 to 21 years old is 5 years. 22 to 24 is 4 years. You'll see that Diego Fuoli is 24 years old, so he's got a 4-year contract in the first year that he's with you. 25 to 32 is 3 years. 33 to 34 is 2 years. 35 plus is 1 year. And that goes down each year that you have them, okay? Their contract goes down. Okay, so then the next thing I want to show you is, so this is your team thing. This is how you'll see your transfer budget as well. You'll notice that, like, once we do this, like, if you bring a player in, let's say you bring a player in for 20 million. So it'll go down from, your transfer budget will go down from 77 to 57, just whatever your transfer budget is. You're not going to fill this in. All the admin team will fill this stuff in. But this is how we keep track of this: the players in, players out. Now you may be wondering, like, how many players do I get to bring in? How many players do I get to take out? So if you're looking at this and you're seeing your transfer limits, over here you'll see this is how many players you can bring in, transfer actions, and this is how many you can outgo. So I'm going to explain these two columns. Your non-OCM limit are players that you can bring in from either the rest of the world, so, or like any other team. So right now we have the Premier League and we have La Liga. In the future, maybe we have Bundesliga. But right now, there's no league where we have Bundesliga. So if you wanted to buy a player from Bundesliga and you were Bournemouth, you could buy two players from any league outside of the Premier League or outside of the La Liga. Okay, you can purchase those. You have a total limit of incoming of 4. Okay, so if you can bring in 4 total, but only 2 of them can be from non-OCM teams, that means you can bring in 2 from OCM teams, whether that be through loan or whether that be through purchase. You can only loan from Premier League or La Liga only. Okay, you can only loan from Premier League or La Liga based on this current season. That will change if a third season happens. So you're outgoing, you can have 2 go out where you can sell to the rest of the world 2 transactions out of 4 total outgoing. Okay, so that means you have 8 total transactions, 4 players you can bring in, whether that's a sell or a loan, 4 players you can sell, whether that's a sell or a loan. Okay, then when you look at La Ligas, That's a little bit different. La Liga, this is your first season. So the Premier League got this their first season. This is why we're giving this to La Liga the first season, so that you have an opportunity to bolster your squad. La Liga, non OCM. That means they don't play for the Premier League or they don't play in La Liga, and you want to try to buy them. You can bring in 5 players, up to 5 players, and you can sell up to 5 players to the rest of the world. Now, all of this has to fall within your transfer budget. So don't forget that even though you can bring in that many players, they still got to fall within your transfer budget and your wage budget. Okay? You have 3 purchases. You can get one from any team, you can sell to any team, or you can do a loan to a Prem or La Liga only. Okay? It all has to fall within the guidelines of this total. Okay. So, yeah, just if you have any questions, ask the admins. So, when we're looking at this as well, you might want to see in season previous where players are or who's been sold. So, you'll see here, this isn't like super pretty yet or anything like that, but you'll see here, this row is the players that have been sold to an OCM team, and this is where they came from. So if you're curious and you're like, oh, hey, I wanted to buy Okafor. Is he still at RB Salzburg? Well, no, he's not. He was sold to OCM, and he was sold to AFC Bournemouth. So you can check this sheet within there, and it'll show everybody who's been sold and who they've been sold to. And then if you're looking at, okay, maybe you want to buy, you want to talk to Liverpool, you want to buy Roberto Firmino. Well, if you look here, you'll see that Roberto Firmino was sold to the rest of the world by Liverpool. So that's where he is now. Okay. um, then there is something else we need to explain. There are no swaps on loans. Like if you're loaning a player out, if you're loaning a player out, there's no swaps. It's got to be a loan for cash. You can only loan out a player for 1 season at a time, and the people that you loan them out to takes the responsibility in full for that. Takes responsibility in full for that. Okay. When we do transfer swaps, so say you want to do a transfer swap. Say you want to sell Alexander Oxlade-Chamberlain for uh, Connor Gallagher. You could agree with somebody and you can trade and you can do that trade for, they have to be close to similar value. If they're not close to similar value, admins might step in and say, this is illegitimate. We try to keep this as fair as possible. So they've got to be fair. But you can have those swaps. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is look at like how you might uh, actually, I'm going to look in here, and just so you know, see this, you'll see like even down here, if we have a player out and say Almeria wants to loan out Marciano at some point, we might go over here and put Marciano and then loan. We'll put what team he went to, and then we'll put what price he went to for the loan. And you got to make that evident when you are filling out your transfer bids. So you'll see something like right here. There was a loan bid by Southampton. If you're looking right here, there was a loan bid by Southampton for Jack Grealish. This is the format that you follow. So this is the bid. Southampton wanted to buy Jack Grealish for a loan. He signified, hey, Southampton put in a loan bid. What's the player? Jack Grealish. What's the team? Manchester City. And you must tag the individual that you are buying from, if it's from the rest of the world or if it's from a Bundesliga team, you're just putting the team that it's from. You're not having to tag anybody. Then what you agreed on or what the bid is, if you're bidding from a non OCM team or rest of the world, again, OCM means it has a manager and it's in the Prim or La Liga. If they're in Prim or La Liga, they are OCM, whether there's a current manager or not. Okay. So a team in La Liga that doesn't have a manager cannot agree for a sale or a purchase. So that will not happen. Um, then you'll bid whatever the bid is. This was 1 year for 7.5 million. What were your funds before? You'll look at your spreadsheet and you'll calculate what your funds are after. You'll want to keep track of that because we'll also have wages. So if I'm going to bid, let's just say I'm going to bid Control C. When I'm ready to bid, my funds before, if I'm bidding for him, might be 8. I always got to look at my wages. My wages before might be 300,000. Let's just say for the sake of this, the wages after, let's say he makes 50K, I'll have to put in 50K. 50K is his wages after. I will find that, and I've got to do some of that math on my own. But when I go to my spreadsheets, I'll be able to see what my starting transfer budget is, my starting wage budget is, and that is a counter. So say after this, let's just say it was 10 million, and my funds, or I bought them for 8 million, and let's say my funds before were 10 million. If my funds before were 10 million, that means I have 2 million. I can use that 2 million for other stuff, but I got to make sure that the next time I put in one, I'm saying that my funds before are 2 million, and say I'm buying somebody for 1 million, then my funds after would be 1 million. Okay? So if you have any questions, you can reach out to an admin. That's basically how it works. You will get the hang of it. It is not as complicated as you think. If you have questions, reach out to an admin. We'll get you all squared away. Thanks.